Food, family, and tradition. These strengthen the bonds with our loved ones and form our fondest memories. My favorite memory of the holidays is my granny's pies. I love to watch her prepare them, and sharing them with my family is the way that we remember her. She passed the tradition on to my mother, who passed it on to me, and now I bring the pies to the family gatherings. My name is Melissa Yeisley, and today I will be showing you how to make wild blackberry pie, as Granny did for us. Once you've made it, I think you'll understand why it's our favorite family tradition. Even without baking experience, you can bake a perfect pie when you use the right ingredients, carefully prepare the crust, and properly bake it. In this video, I'll show you how to choose the right ingredients, I'll demonstrate how to prepare a flaky crust, and I'll explain the best way to bake the pie. First, let's look at the ingredients. Choosing the right ingredients is critical for successful pie baking. For the crust, we'll need 2½ cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, 2½ sticks of butter, 6 tablespoons of ice-cold water, and 1 egg. The butter gives the crust a rich flavor and doesn't contain trans fats. Ice water is important because it keeps the mixture cold, preventing the butter from melting. For the pie filling, we will need to use 5 cups of fresh or frozen wild blackberries, 1 cup of sugar, 6 tablespoons of instant tapioca, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of lemon zest, and a tablespoon of lemon juice. Wild blackberries can be found late June to mid-July. They grow low on the ground on small vines. Now, the instant tapioca is probably not the tapioca pudding type that you're thinking of. It's actually a fine powder, and that's what will thicken the pie. According to a 2014 article by Christine Gallery, a graduate of Le Cordon Bleu in Paris, the pie filling thickens when starches bond with water molecules as it's heated. It creates a net-like structure that creates that thickness. I like to use the tapioca because it thickens well. It makes a clear filling and is flavorless, unlike flour or cornstarch. Now that we've discussed the ingredients, let's move on to preparing the crust. Careful pie crust preparation creates the flaky crust. J. Kenji Lopez Alt, author of the Food Lab, explains in a 2015 article how there are 3 components that contribute to the flakiness of the crust. There is the water-flour mixture, pure pockets of fat, and the flour-fat paste. He writes that thoroughly cutting the butter into 2/3 of the flour first, and then stirring it in the remaining flour, will make enough of those, a good ratio of the 3 different types. Now that we have our pie all put together, let's talk about how to bake it. It's important to cut holes in the pie to allow for ventilation. I've also used a brush and painted the whole top with egg to make it a nice golden brown. Temperature is really important when it comes to baking the pie. According to Joanne Chang, Harvard graduate and owner of Boston's Flour Bakery and Cafe, preheating the oven to 425 for at least 15 minutes is really important before putting the pie in. The hot temperature of the oven actually forms steam in the dough, and that's what makes the flaky layers separate, and you have to do that before you allow the butter to melt. So a really hot oven for the first 15 minutes is important. This pie will cook for 15 minutes at 425, and then after the 15 minutes you can reduce the heat to 375 degrees. For another 20 to 25 minutes, watching for bubbling in the vent to show that there's thickening going on in the pie filling. Okay, so we've taken our pie out and put it on a cooling rack, and we're going to allow it to cool for 1 hour. You can see that the crust is a nice golden brown, and you can see the flakiness in the crust. Now that I've shown you how to make pie, let's recap the most important things to remember. We talked about choosing the right ingredients, how to prepare the crust, and how to properly bake the pie for the best results. But the more important message I want to leave you with is that food and family traditions enrich our lives. My family loves blackberry pie, but more importantly, it is about sharing love and food on the holidays. I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration and will make a family tradition of your own. Thank you.